Here we are, your Geordie journos, back at St James's Park.
You're enthusiastic, you can tell we've won.
Yeah, what a night. Shame about cup draws, they can go in the bin, but we'll talk about that again later on in this little segment. Come to you first, Dom. Analyse that one. What a win.
Game of two halves, you could say.
Massively, yeah.
10 changes made by Eddie Howe, and first half certainly looked like it. Handed three debuts, full debuts anyway. Tino Livramento, Lewis Hall and Lewis Miley coming into the side, along with several others as well. And yeah, disjointed in the first half, just completely lacking really against a still very strong Man City team. I think there was 7 or 8 changes Pep Guardiola made from the weekend. And Newcastle just weren't there in the first half. Probably the best part of it was they went in at 0-0 without Man City having too many chances. They had one sort of half chance with Julian Alvarez saved by Nick Pope, but then played the rest of the first half more or less in Newcastle's half. Jacob Murphy had a decent chance towards the end of the first half, but then half time changes, first team quality players like Anthony Gordon, Bruno Guimaraes, they come on, and for me Bruno in particular changed the game. And from basically the first minute of the second half, Newcastle won the front foot, get the goal, Alexander Isak, from some good work from Joe Linton. Nice to see him back in the team, and from there Newcastle were able to see out the game probably a lot easier than we would have expected against the treble winners. And yeah, Newcastle deservedly through in the end. Great win, great atmosphere here at St James's Park, and plenty of positives to take until the fourth round draw was made, and it's a trip to Manchester United away, a replay of the cup final last season. So yeah, positive night on the whole, and plenty to talk about.
Well, and then Jordan, you talked me through it. Was a funny one, like Dom mentioned there, that it's went from being absolute famine in the first half with regards performance, and I was just sort of leaning over your shoulder, used to guys, and I could see the merit marks. There were 4s and 5s galore. Suddenly transformed in the second half to 7s and 8s somehow, and a little bit higher as well with certain players. Talk me through that transformation of what you really pinpointed as not only the key changes, because of course Bruno made a big difference and Anthony Gordon made a big difference, but what really changed the balance of things, because the crowd, in my opinion, really got into the game, and I think the players did their bit to make that atmosphere increase in the second half.
Yeah, so the two players that came on, Anthony Gordon and Bruno, obviously key to the way the game changed. But I do think as well, because Newcastle actually got at Manchester City, they were a little bit taken back by it. I thought it was too easy for them in the first half. It was like a training exhibition, apart from there wasn't many goals or any goals from Manchester City, but it was too easy for them in the first half. They were passing it about. Newcastle were passive, but I say that half-time team talk, whatever Eddie Howe said, inspired the players, because they came out straight away in that second half, and you could tell there was a different level of intent about them. They wanted to get to that Manchester City back line, and deservedly got a goal. A little bit of quality by Joe Linton running the box, and I think the cross was perhaps maybe a little bit lucky to reach Isak in the end, but
looked like he ran out of time with it, didn't he? He looked like he was gonna create something, get a shot away, and then didn't, and somehow found Isak free at the back post.
Yeah, so I mean, we've spoken about this sort of previously about Newcastle's intensity in games. It's been lacking this season. That second half was probably the epitome of what Newcastle can do in terms of pressing City, getting right in the faces, spreading out wide, balls into the box. I thought it was really positive attacking display. But see, on the flip side, that defensively as well, they were outstanding in that second half. I don't think City asked too many questions, but I think you've got to give Newcastle the credit for the way they defended. Key players for me in there, Tino Livramento on his debut, thought he was outstanding, really good up against Jack Grealish, 1v1, excellent, attacking wise, really strong going forward as well, showed his pace, athleticism, so really good debut from him. And another player as well, Paul Dummett, who I think Dom described as rolling back the years. That isn't disrespectful to Paul Dummett, but this is his first start in 12 months, and you wouldn't have thought it. He was excellent, threw his body on the line, came off a cramp at the end because he was so tired and gave such a physical effort. But you know, I probably wasn't the only one when you see Paul Dummett on the team sheet at the start and you think, oh God, against that Manchester City attack. But him and Jamal Lascelles were excellent, so I thought it was a really good second half overall, attacking, defending, but first half to forget. But you know, they turned it around thankfully and got the next round of the cup. Just unfortunate it's an away trip to Manchester United.
God, so negative, these Geordie journals, so negative. No, I think you both make some really interesting points. My analysis is probably going to follow similar lines. I think, don't lie anybody out there. I know you were thinking what I was thinking, probably what these two are thinking as well. When you see a back four of Livramento, Targett, Lascelles and Dummett, I don't think anybody in their wildest dreams would have believed a fourth clean sheet was on the way, and limiting the best club team in the planet, who were at 70%, you'd say, potentially today, and are much stronger and less changed than Newcastle United, limiting them just 2 shots on target in 96, 97 minutes. An incredible performance. Paul Dummett did more than roll back the years. I mean, it's been easy to forget that he's a part of this squad over the last 12 months. One appearance or so under his belt. Played like the Paul Dummett of old. The centre half we always believed he would be, rather than the left back, and he was excellent. I think Matt Targett really surprised me with his performance. A committed, solid performance. Tilo Livramento did the defending of 2 men at times. He was really targeted towards the end of that game, and it was doubling up time with when Nunes came on. It was a real challenge for him. He had to pick up the man inside of him, the man outside of him, and he did that tremendously. Didn't need any encouragement to get involved in any attacks. Outstanding. You know I love Bruno on here. I think he transformed the game. He just grabbed the game by the scruff of the neck when he was brought on in midfield. He gave them a foothold. A difficult night for 2 of their debutants, whose day will come. Louis Miley flashes there, but tough against a really slick Manchester City midfield in that first half. And Lewis Hall, tough one, really tough one down that left hand side. Was passed from pillar to post to try and get some kind of foothold in the game. Left wing, centre mid, left back, couldn't really do that. But as Eddie Howe said at the end of the game, look, that's what these games are for. Those 2 kids will learn lessons from what they experienced today, and they won't come up against the level of opponents like that very often in their footballing career. So I think lots of positives to take. Anthony Gordon, for me, if Newcastle United need an attacking outlet, they just turn to Flash Gordon himself. Not the
You'd be dying to get that one.
not the 1980s superhero, not quite. But he does have a very 1980s haircut with those sun-kissed bits of blonde in his hair and fire in his boots. I think he's a tremendous player who just gets better every time I see him. I think Gareth Southgate, as I said on here, the last time I don't think he knows football if he isn't going to take a look at Anthony Gordon. Although from a very selfish Newcastle United perspective, taking into consideration the summer that he had as well, it'd be quite nice to see him get a few days break rather than ferried off on an international break again. So yeah, I think a lot to take from it. We'll come on to the draw now. Can we just stop with cup draws? I mean, does it?
I've no luck though.
No, but would it be too much to ask to get an Exeter at home or somebody like that? Even a Borough at home would probably smash them. Anybody. But no, the cup draws Newcastle United have had, brilliant Newcastle United, PSG, Dortmund, AC Milan, Manchester City and Manchester United. Incredible stuff, really. You couldn't make it up. The only harder draws they probably could have got, a reward for this tremendous performance tonight, would have been something like an Arsenal away or a Liverpool away. Don, thoughts?
In fairness, when we have got drawn against lower opposition, Sheffield Wednesday, Cambridge United, we've bottled it, so
We have.
tends to bring out the best in Newcastle, so we'll take a silver lining. But yeah, midweek trip.
I would have taken an Everton at home.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, it just doesn't come much tougher. They've knocked out the favourites tonight, and we'll probably play again one of the favourites, with Newcastle being another now, in the next round, and it's just sandwiched in a sort of tricky run of fixtures, isn't it?
It's incredible, that little run of fixtures. The reason why I say that, I don't for one second believe Newcastle United are going to win all of the competitions. They might not even win one of the competitions that they get involved in this year or next year. But it'd be nice for Eddie Howe's team, who've been handed a really tough draw in the Champions League, to just have a little bit of grace, the ability to maybe go back to this team and play Dummetts and Richies and Halls and Mileys again, in a just a little bit more forgiving environment, rather than be thrown in at Old Trafford. It's just unfair. It's not unfair. It's the look of the draw, but you know, it's one of those things that it could have been kinder to them in a run of games where it looks like, I haven't double checked, but it looks like you in the mix in that run of games is Arsenal at home and Dortmund away, included in that little run with Manchester United away. It doesn't get much tougher than that, does it, Jordan?
No, and to be fair, if you look at the Manchester United game in isolation, I actually don't fear a Manchester United team at Old Trafford as much as I used to.
Yeah.
But the tough thing about the Manchester United draws, as you mentioned there, comes in the middle of some really difficult fixtures, so they could have done without a Manchester United type team. But I think, you know, beating Manchester City today, I sort of wrongly tweeted after the game that I think they're one of the favourites. If they then go to Manchester United and win there as well, I think they all ultimately the favourites to win the Carabao Cup, knocking out both Manchester teams. So yeah, it's not an ideal draw, but can they beat Manchester United?
Yeah.
Of course they can. Of course
Get
they can
Liverpool in the quarter-final.
No.
That don't look too far. But
Yeah. Right, so it started a bucket down again at St James's Park.
I actually thought it was the sprinklers.
Was it
even
the
though
sprinklers?
No, but the sprinklers are nowhere near. But
Yeah,
there was
it was raining. I think it's dried up again now. Right, so is our crack dried up a little bit in this video. Right, you can find everything that Dom does on the Shields Gazette. Make sure you do check that out. I'm just doing the T's and C's here because I'm editor of both. Newcastle World for any of Jordan's stuff. Make sure you click on that. The player ratings are particularly enjoyable to read.
You don't like them.
Well, I think they always spark a little bit of conversation and are always good for that kind of thing online. But yeah, there'll be lots of Eddie Howe reaction, lots of player reaction, all that kind of stuff on the Gazette website and on newcastleworld.com. Geordie Journos wise, make sure you like, comment, share and subscribe just to keep the channel going, because we love doing it, we love the conversation and we're happy to keep it going. So like, comment, share, subscribe. Your Geordie Journos will remain.